Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world. I hope this finds you well. It's been a little while since the last update, so I think it's time to do a video on Bitcoin, Caspa, and the stock market. I'm going to make the case as to why I am still bullish and why I still believe that Caspa can still reach my targets of minimum $1 and potentially as high as $5 this cycle. I think that everything is looking great on the Caspa chart. This 18-cent level keeps getting tested, and the more times a level gets tested, the more likely it is to break. So I think the odds for Caspa breaking out into the 20-cent plus region is good. I think that Caspa has a good shot of that. So Bitcoin as well is looking positive. We had this recent scare. We did have a recent scare where price dropped down to roughly 53,000. But I think what a lot of people didn't notice at the time was that price was in fact sitting on an area of support. As you can see, this large ascending channel on a super high time frame spanning back to 2020, the midline got hit. So that was it was an important level on the CBUM trading Discord and the Black Diamond Hangout. I pointed that out, that we were touching the midline of this channel. So everyone in the Discord got notified as soon as I saw that. And what do you know? Price did in fact bounce there. And what's nice now is that Bitcoin is in fact above its 20-week SMA. So as long as that holds, I think any remaining bears are going to have to flip bullish, which is a good sign. And additionally, the stock market is now sitting on the 50-day SMA. The S&P 500 specifically is sitting on the 50-day. And you can see from history that this moving average tends to roughly hold. Sometimes it dips below, but roughly that's a good line to set. So you can see when things are potentially on a support level. The 50-day moving average, the S&P tends to hold that in a bull run. And so that is very interesting. And then like zooming out even further on the monthly time frame on the S&P 500. And again, we're looking at this because it's all related. It's all related. You can't look at anything in a vacuum. Really interesting here to note that just literally copying and pasting these lines, moving them, they're the exact same angle, the exact same length. If this pattern repeated where you have a big sideways time period that could span, a number of years, even 10 years, as it happens sometimes, we aren't due for that necessarily until the 2030s. So imagine that S&P 500 really just has these minimal pullbacks until the 2030s, and everybody is not everyone, a lot of people are just afraid because anytime something gets to an all-time high, it's time to pull out. I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's good to have that perspective, but it's also important sometimes to be bullish. Like there's a time to be bullish and there's a time to be bearish. So, hey, it could top here and it could go sideways for 10 years. You always got to keep that in the back of your mind. And the way to deal with that is just don't put more money into the market that you can afford to lose. If you can't live without that money, then you probably shouldn't have it in the market. So that's just an easy way to go about it, and yeah, the S&P 500 on a more micro level did this big cup and handle. It came up. It's, pinpoint nailing the 1.618. Again, this was a level that I pointed out quite a while ago, back in December, that we were very likely heading up to close to 5,600. As I noted here, what happened? Boom, 5,600, boom, pulling back. We're now at the 50-day SMA. And what do you think? Like, I don't know. I mean, this is what I think. I think it might continue to hold it, and it might continue higher. And the only reason why I point this out is it's just good to keep an eye on this, because it's good for Bitcoin. Bitcoin likes to see strength in the US stock market, from what I can tell, and I think a lot of other people would agree with that. And so the stock market doing well is good for Bitcoin, and then many of us here who are watching this, I'm sure, are Caspa holders. It's good for Caspa. So, I mean, honestly, I think that Caspa is so strong fundamentally that it almost doesn't even matter what Bitcoin or the stock market do. So, you know, it's better if they do well. But honestly, I think that Caspa is going to find its place in the top 10 regardless of what they do. So I think that personally, I feel good sleeping at night holding Caspa, 100% Caspa. But that's just me. And then another interesting chart here, the 2-week chart. This RSI, for example, right here, roughly, this was the bottom, kind of, if you got in right as it dipped below the lower end of this level. And it didn't top, you know, and you could, I don't know if you could call it a top. You could kind of maybe roughly call it a top, but it's more sideways. And when it peaked out right here, similar level, it at least started going sideways. And what's interesting now, it's been in the longest accumulation phase that Caspa has ever had, and it bottomed roughly near the all-time high, right? Look at this. We're basically at all-time highs right now, and it's bottomed, and it can go higher. So we'll see what happens when it goes higher, and we'll hope that price is a lot higher. I mean, it very well could. If we just look at price targets, for example, a full Fibonacci extension, just like we had here, 14 cents for anyone who's been following along since maybe 2023 when I got into Caspa down here and accumulated a lot more down here, and was pointing out that 14 cents was an interesting level. We nailed that target, and we just have started going sideways here. And now it's pretty clear that this level is going to hold, at least in my opinion. The strength here is pretty undeniable. So let's just see what another full Fibonacci extension is. So it looks like we can potentially go to 50 cents, so and this is just like the next potential swing if we do a full Fibonacci extension. Of course, I think that by the time Bitcoin is like setting its peak, Bitcoin could be at 150K, it could be at 230K, who knows, it's going to be somewhere up there. That's when ideally I want to get out of the market potentially. So I'm really looking at that. Where exactly I do it will depend on what's going on around that time. So when Bitcoin is putting in its peak, we'll see where Caspa is. But I think, this is just a more near-term swing. I think that ultimately Caspa will probably have its like a longer bear market after it gets to somewhere above between $1 and like potentially $5. So depends on the supply and demand and where Caspa Bitcoin is and what's going on with Caspa at the time. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, Bitcoin potentially the left translated cycle, like peaking around this time, obviously is invalidated. So now looking more so potentially it repeating this pattern where it took like over 300 days from the last Bitcoin halving in 2020 to where it peaked, and a similar time span would put that into early 2025. And if it starts pumping here, we could still be on track for that. I don't like to think deterministically and that it has to repeat anything exactly, but it's possible that it does something like that. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that and consider that. But who knows, maybe it goes sideways and builds a base. Maybe it goes sideways for a long time, kind of like what kind of like what Caspa is doing here, just essentially going sideways, which honestly I think would be fine for Caspa, because Caspa will just probably continue to get bought, and the supply is already 85% mined, and versus Bitcoin, which is maybe about 94%. So Caspa, as I say, will have its training wheels come off sooner than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's training wheels are going to be on it until like past 2100. Like we're all going to be dead and gone. Caspa's going to be fully mined, like in the 2030s, 2037 maybe it is. So that really puts pressure on the price to go up, because miners need that price appreciation to continue to maintain their profit margins. So sell pressure is reducing every month as the mining rewards reduce on a monthly level. So that's great for us as Caspa holders, in my opinion. And the question a lot of people's mind is, there going to be enough activity on the network to sustain the miners beyond that point when all the mining, when all the coins are emitted? I mean, well, time will tell, but things are looking good. Smart contracts coming. It's the fastest proof of work. When the stablecoin functionality is possible on Caspa, which will be possible, sooner than later, because smart contracts are imminent, then it's going to be able to transact it's basically going to be a digital cash, kind of more like what the vision was for Bitcoin, but it never actually achieved. So Bitcoin has become the store of value. Caspa, is known as silver. Caspa means silver in ancient Aramaic, and theoretically, it has a better chance of being actual digital cash. So you can spend it. It's more easily denominated. The supply was set up to be, 28 billion or so coins, so that, when it starts trading higher, we'll be dealing in whole numbers for goods, more likely, rather than Bitcoin is priced. The coin is priced so high now because of the 21 million coins in existence that you have to divide it into decimals that are like useless. So sats, they use sats maybe to deal with that. But Caspa will be more easily divisible in terms of just recognizing the value of it per coin. So that's interesting. And then also, obviously, smart contracts will allow stablecoins, so people will be able to use stablecoins. And all that activity, I think, is going to ideally allow miners to still get paid. So very bullish on Caspa fundamentally. I think just looking at the chart, we can all agree that there's something here. There's something special here. Real quickly, looking at the rainbow chart, we'll take a look at this. So 50-cent level is roughly this purple level. So if we get up to that, also it'll take time to get up there. Could be the blue one by the time it's at 40 cents, but it's just more confluence. And I've been watching this rainbow chart even when it dipped below, and what do you know? It did in fact hold. Like, this hasn't moved. This is literally just static, right? This is just static, and it held. So really interesting. I think if this continues to play out, we are at the primo level, and we are also quite a ways above the 20 and 21 week SMA and 20 and 21 week SMA and EMA. And that's nice to see. We could even argue that Caspa is more strong than Bitcoin right now, because look at the distance here, how far Caspa is off of these moving averages. And, about 26% or so, over 20%. If we look at Bitcoin, it actually, whereas Caspa is above it, Bitcoin fell below, and it's just recently got above, and it's probably only, a few percent or so, right? So it's really only like less than maybe 3% above. So we can argue that, in fact, Caspa is showing more strength on a technical level, and it's pushing up against these highs. And so, like I said, like when more times the level gets tested, the more likely it is to break. So once that happens, I think we have a good shot of really just like pushing up. A lot of the shorts are going to get liquidated. It's going to push higher, and then you have the FOMO, and then spot buyers get in, and then more coins just get stored away, removed from exchanges, self-custodied, in people's wallets. So I think things are looking rosy, which also leads me to my next point. Keep your coins off of exchanges. It's just dangerous to, that's the whole point of crypto, self-custody, financial freedom. Keep, that was a cat in the background. Keep your coins off exchanges and self-custody. So, feel free to use my promo code. I personally use a Tangem. You can plug Jim into anything on Tangem's website. They just came out with this new ring, which is pretty awesome. And if you add the Jim promo code, it's going to give you 10% off, which is a pretty decent discount, as you can see. And so basically the way it works, if you don't know, you're not familiar, you just tap it on your phone, and it's going to essentially, add an extra layer of security that without you get 2 cards, you get a ring when you get the new ring that they're coming out with. Without that physical device in your hands, you can't send crypto from the wallet. And then as far as the private keys, you have the option to either activate a seed phrase or not on Tangem, on the version 2, and I believe with the ring too. If you don't, then the seed phrase is never exposed anywhere. It's just within the cards. Keep them in multiple locations and diversify the locations in case, there's some natural disaster, things like that. But otherwise, it's pretty safe, like the device would have to fail. So you have a few of them as backups, or you have to lose them all at once, which you don't want to keep them all together, et cetera, et cetera. But, so yeah, in any case, just keep them off exchanges, just don't keep them on an exchange. You could lose all your crypto that way. It's happened to me before, and it's just not smart. That's the whole reason to use crypto, is to self-custody. And additionally, if you're interested in receiving lessons in technical analysis, as you can see, I've had a pretty good track record of exiting the market at the top and buying the bottom. I even predicted 15,500 before it happened, like 4 months in advance. If you want to learn technical analysis, feel free to join the Ski Bum Trading Discord, and I'm in there for help. You can chat with me every day if you'd like to. And that will be in the link below. It's also in my Twitter bio. So anyway, I hope this all was helpful. Still remain bullish on Caspa, and I think that even in the event that Bitcoin pulls back more, it just means I have a longer time horizon. I am a high time frame trader, so I'm very patient. That's just my strategy. And I hope this was helpful. Feel free to drop any comments below, what you liked and what you might want to see more of. And otherwise, I wish you all a good day. Take care. Be well. Until next time.